Assalamu alaikum and good morning. My name is Aliyar Filza Effendi from TNB Research. This video is a summary on a water quality study entitled Some Characteristics of Pergao Reservoir Water Quality, an Introduction for Pergao Scientific Expedition 2019 conducted from 28 October to 3 November 2019. Pergao Reservoir is located in Kelantan, nearby to state border between Kelantan and Perak. It is a man-made lake for hydropower and flood mitigation. This hydropower station, which is known as Sultan Ismail Petra Hydroelectric Station, was constructed since early 1991 and completed in 9 years, which is during the year of 2000. Currently the hydro is still in operation since 2003. Pergao Reservoir is well known for its own nature beauty and biodiversity. It encompasses of 4.3 square kilometers of inundation area with inflows from 7 intakes, producing high productivity and rich diversity of natural resources. In November 2016, Pergao Reservoir was gazetted as Taman Perlindungan Ecosystem Sultan Ismail Petra by Sultan Kelantan, Sultan Mahmud V. Pergao Reservoir is known as an attractive spot for eco-tourism destination. However, it was currently closed to control any illegal activities. These activities are affecting the abundance of fish and water quality. It is reported that Pergao Reservoir is categorized as moderate with trophic state index value range between 37.4 to 47.4. In addition, this study aimed to understand the water quality profile of Pergao Reservoir by 10 meters depth. Water quality sampling were conducted between 28 October 2019 to 3 November 2019. There were 3 water quality sampling stations and labeled as P1, P2 and P3. There are 11 water quality parameters analyzed for each sampling location, such as water temperature, pH, biological oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand, total suspended solid, total dissolved solid, dissolved oxygen, turbidity, ammoniacal nitrogen, oil and grease and total coliform. 3 water quality parameters, which are temperature, pH and DO, were measured via in situ using calibrated multiprobe meters YSI Professional Plus handheld from the water surface to 10 meters depth with 1 meter interval. All these parameters later will be analyzed using WQI to determine its water quality status. Table 2 shows the results of the water quality characteristics calculated using Water Quality Index (WQI) and National Water Quality Standards for Malaysia (NWQS). Overall, DOE-WQI for Pergao Reservoir at all sampling locations are categorized as clean and within Class 1. Thus, this reservoir is suitable for sensitive aquatic species conservation. 3 water quality parameters, which are pH, DO and temperature, were measured in situ during sampling and recorded to determine the lake profile. Stratification usually occurred due to temperature differences within the water body, which created separate layers of water. The range of pH value during the sampling was 7.50 to 8.72, with mean of 7.93 plus or minus 0.69. The mean pH value of the Pergao Reservoir is indicated as slightly alkaline. Alkalinity is important for fish and aquatic life because it protects or buffers against rapid pH changes. Living organisms, especially aquatic life, function best in a pH range of 6.0 to 9.0. The pH value was ideal when compared to the NWQS and classified as Class 1. Highest pH recorded was at P3 at 0.2 meters with value of 8.72, whereas the lowest pH recorded at P3 at 2 meters with value of 6.2. Water surface were shown the highest range of pH 7.50 to 8.72, compared to the previous observations in 2017 6.31 to 6.71, which are slightly acidic. Lower pH was recorded at greater depths. The lowest values are usually near the lake bottom, where decomposition of organic matter occurred and created more acidic conditions. The higher pH value were found within a few meters of the surface and usually indicate a zone of vigorous photosynthesis by algae. Differences in pH levels between water strata are due to increase of carbon dioxide from respiration and decomposition below the thermocline. This significant drop comes from the saturated carbon dioxide that is stored up in the lower strata of the lake. According to temperature profile measured at P1, temperature at the surface was the lowest 27 degrees Celsius and the temperature decreased as depth increased. Vertical water temperature profile shows that water temperature decreased with depth in the transitional and lacustrine zones. High temperature value recorded on 0.2 meters depth 27 to 27.5 degrees Celsius and reduced 24.2 to 25.5 degrees Celsius at 10 meters depth, which eventually created clinograde curve. Thermal stratification is a common phenomenon in most deep lakes and reservoirs. There is a drastic drop from 8 meters to 10 meters depth, indicating that thermocline occurred at 8 meters for P1 sampling station, whereas for P2 and P3 the thermocline occurred at 3 meters and 2 meters depth respectively. Thermocline phenomena happened when there are drastic changes of temperature and metalimnion layer created above or below which temperature changes more rapidly with depth. The results show there are two main water column occurred in Purgao Reservoir, epilimnion layer within range of 0.2 meters depth to 2 meters depth with a warmer and typically has a higher pH and higher dissolved oxygen concentration, vice versa with hypolimnion layer 5 meters to 10 meters. Dissolved oxygen profile is based on the pattern in the lacustrine zone. Most of oxygen enters the water from the atmosphere, mainly from the mixing action of winds and waves. Figure 4 shows the highest dissolved oxygen of Purgao Reservoir was observed at P3 station. The water surface dissolved oxygen value recorded at all sampling location was in range of 6.85 to 9.21 mg per liter, 7.72 plus or minus 1.29. Dissolved oxygen is an important element involved in chemical and biological reactions in the aquatic environment. The availability of dissolved oxygen in water is essential for life in a lake. Aquatic plants and algae also produce oxygen as a byproduct of photosynthesis. The dissolved oxygen value was ideal when compared to the NWQS and classified as Class 1. Figure 4 shows that at P1, dissolved oxygen was constant at approximately 7.00 mg per liter up to 9 meters depth. Above the 9 meters depth, the anoxic layer occurred where the dissolved oxygen dropped drastically to 0.03 mg per liter, whereas anoxic layer been detected at depth of 3 meters at P2 and P3. Dissolved oxygen profile of Purgao Reservoir and clinograde oxygen curve created based on the recorded data as a result of excessive of oxygen-consuming processes in the lake. The epilimnion layer remains in contact with the atmosphere, while in contrast, the hypolimnion, without contact with the atmosphere. The dissolved oxygen stratification may gradually lose oxygen in greater depth due to redox processes, including the aerobic oxidation of organic matter. This study shows that the temperature for all stations in the reservoir were high at the subsurface 0.2 meters with values of above 27 degrees Celsius and dropped to 3.3 degrees Celsius as the depth increased to 10 meters. In addition, the thermocline occurred within the range of 2 to 8 meters depth and the dissolved oxygen was in Class 1 for the top layer 2 to 9 meters. For biological oxygen demand, all stations was in Class 1 with the range between 1.3 to 1.4 mg per liter. Overall, the water quality of Purgao Reservoir indicates an excellent condition and is suitable for sensitive aquatic organism. It is recommended to conduct further study on water quality for seasonal changes in Purgao Reservoir. I would like to thank TNB Research for this opportunity to participate in Purgao Scientific Expedition 2019. Not to forget my team for their support in completing this study. Thank you.